All right, guys. Looks like we're live. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Rookies of the Year. This is episode 4. We got our guys Josh and Rob here. Happy Memorial Day, everybody. We're going to talk a little bit of NBA playoffs. We're going to talk a little bit of Stanley Cup, MLB, and then it's Memorial Day. We're going to talk a little Cooper Flagg, the next American phenom. All right, let's dive right into it. We're going to talk Knicks Pacers. Just give me your initial thoughts on how the series has gone. It's been a crazy one. It's been electric. It's kind of been that game one was epic. But yeah, Josh, start us off. Let me hear your thoughts on this series.
So a lot of back and forth here. Well, not really, but yes, at the same time, it felt like the Pacers decisively took the first two games here. Um, had the little comeback action. Tyrese down the stretch has been sensational. The Knicks last night, little jab themselves, little comeback, big comeback actually. Down pretty big at the half, then marched back in the third. I was quite impressed by their defense. I think this whole series has been about just lights out offense and hard fought defense. The Pacers last night finally fell away from their formula of shooting 50% from the field and 40% from three from every game. So we see what that was like when they're finally not hitting those shots. Made them a little bit more susceptible. Yo, what's up, Wu Tang? Great to have you as always. Um, so I think it's an interesting one. I feel like the Pacers are still in the driver's seat. A little scared last night from Aaron Nesmith, little ankle injury. Don't like to see that. He's been absolutely electric and been pivotal for the Pacers, especially in game one. So we'll see. But so far, so good. It's been cinema, in my opinion.
Rob,
Oh man, what a freaking roller coaster so far. I mean, we go game one, you know, both teams come out hot. Um, Knicks, they kind of start pulling away. They're in that fourth quarter. They take a double-digit lead. They go up 15. They were up by 17, I think, at one point. But, we're there in the second half of game one. Everybody's already saying the Knicks swept the series. They're going back to the finals. And then here come the Pacers out of nowhere. I mean, that's one of the craziest comebacks we've ever seen. 14 points down, under 3 minutes to go. Obviously, we know what Aaron Nesmith did. But for the Pacers to pull that game off, and then they come out game two, Pascal Siakam has a heater. He looks like Toronto Pascal. And then the Pacers come out firing yesterday, take a 20-point first half lead. It looks like they're going to go up 3-0 and maybe sweep this series. And then, whoa, here come the Knicks. Monster fourth quarter from Cat. They tightened up the defense there late in the second half, and now we got a series.
yeah, it's been incredible to watch. I thought Indiana was just going to take that game and just silence all the Knicks fans, like put them to bed, put them 6 feet under. But yeah, like you said, Cat showed up. He actually didn't get benched in the fourth quarter. We'll talk about Tom Thibodeau here in a second. Um, but yeah, this series has been incredible. That game one, it felt like the world stopped for a moment when that ball was like even out of the camera frame on TNT. The ball was just everybody just sat there. I know MSG was in shambles when that ball went in. But yeah, that was an iconic moment for Tyrese Haliburton. We'll talk about him too. But do you guys think the Knicks have a chance to make this a series? Do you think the Pacers win the next game and then ultimately win in six, or do you think the Knicks kind of have a chance to take control of this series and swing momentum? Josh, let me hear it from you.
If they're going to, it's going to have to be now. I do think Indiana has looked like they are firmly in the driver's seat. They had that kind of fall apart in the second half yesterday. So kind of makes me a little skeptical, but so far this series, they've looked like the team to beat. New York is going to have to make a lot of adjustments too. Jalen Brunson's going to have to play better from the rip next game. Um, OG is going to have to keep doing his thing. Macau's going to have to keep showing up, even if the box score is not reflecting it. And I don't know if we're to Tibbs yet. I mean, for the love of God, use your bench and use it in response to Indiana because, I mean, to his credit, he's rolling out guys like Mitch and Deuce, but as soon as he does, Rick Carlisle is then making an adjustment, and then we're seeing what looks like nothing more from Tibbs, and he was just kind of letting his team sink. But I think the players really pulled it together yesterday, and it's going to be on their leaders like JB and Cat to really propel this this comeback here.
I got to stay out of foul trouble.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Rob, you're up.
Yeah. I mean, I still think we have a series. I do think the Pacers win game 4 tomorrow at home and take a 3-1 lead. But even if we get to that point, I mean, we could still have a series. A lot of it's going to come down to, I mean, these teams are just, they're so evenly matched. It's going to come down a lot to adjustments. Like you were mentioning, Tom Thibodeau, he finally went into the bench yesterday. He used more than 8 players, which is absolutely crazy for a guy like Tibbs. But he even went to DeLon Wright, which is something that nobody expected. But yeah, I mean, their stars are going to have to show up. And I think they're gonna need some bench production as well because Jalen Brunson, he was phenomenal in the first 2 games of the series, averaging almost 40 points, but it wasn't enough. Cat showed up yesterday, gave them some big minutes. I really think that third quarter was huge because you see guys like Mikal Bridges, he didn't really have a good game yesterday overall. But
Yeah.
most of the damage that he did was during that comeback in the third quarter to help kind of spark it. And then my Deuce McBride, he only had 9 points, I think, yesterday, but 7 of them also came in that third quarter. So when you bring in guys like that off the bench, or obviously Mikhail's not a bench player, but they need some of the other guys to step up and continue scoring. And then they just got to get stops. Jalen Brunson and Cat need to stay out of foul trouble so they can stay on the court. And then, I mean, we'll see. We got a series here.
Yeah, I think, like you guys both said, Jalen Brunson's got to be the guy to will their team to victory. He's their guy. We talked about a clutch player of the year all year, and these games have been nothing but clutch games. So we needed him to step up. That OT3 where he just airballed it was just like, dang, this guy's kind of giving it his all out there. And you could see for stretches he's dominating. He's getting to his spot. He's hitting those turnaround jumpers where nobody could really guard him off 2 feet. But yeah, I think it starts with him. It starts with them staying out of foul trouble. Him and Cat need to be on the floor to be able to make an impact. And both of them, it seems like down the stretch, can't stay out of foul trouble. They're both battling that, and that really hurts Brunson because Brunson then can't. He's a physical, like offensive player too, so he can't really get to his spots maybe sometimes when he's in foul trouble. So yeah, that's going to be kind of my take. I think Pacers in 6. I'm sticking with my yeah, but TJ, things happen, man. You guys gave up a 9-point lead in less than a minute and missing free throws down the stretch. So that's what happened.
Is this even a question? Cat Brunson or
Tatum,
Tatum Brown?
Tatum
Come
and
on, bro.
Jalen Brown are the best duo in the NBA of this 2020 decade. You know it. It's not even a question. But I think the
Knicks fans,
Pacers. I'm
man.
sticking with
They
my
beat 2
prediction.
injured teams.
Let's not forget
Knicks
you
beat
guys are
2
both.
injured teams, and their fans are going crazy.
You guys both took the Knicks in this series. So I had Pacers in 6. I'm riding with Pacers in 6. I think they win tomorrow. Knicks might win one at MSG, but they finish it back in Indiana. So yeah, look forward to the Pacers in the finals. So we're going to talk a little Carl Anthony Towns. This guy sat all fourth quarter in game 2. You were thinking, can the Knicks even win with Carl Anthony Towns on the floor? We got Mitchell Robinson playing clutch minutes down the stretch. Did Cat save his career with the Knicks with that fourth quarter yesterday? That's the question. Josh, let me hear it from you.
I don't think he might have necessarily saved his career, but I think his prominent role as like 1B is no longer in question. He was coming off a little flat. It looked like he was kind of getting played off the floor, like you were saying. In my opinion, it looked like the Knicks had no big options to go to. I was feeling a little worried in that regard. Miles Turner and Siakam were doing their thing, but not to veer off course here. Absolutely maintained his role here. I think he was huge. You know how Knicks fans are. They're going to be looking for that scapegoat. And the Knicks, we're going to hear about it all offseason. They still might. That's not to say that will necessarily change, but at least for this game, he's got that to be like, well, look, I did this. And I mean, they went out and made a trade for him last summer to bring all these guys together. I don't think they're necessarily looking to break things up quite yet, but absolutely saved face there, in my opinion. It was important that he had that outing.
All right, Rob, let me hear it from you. Thank you to everybody in the building today.
I mean, it depends how you want to look at it. I mean, in the eyes of Knicks fans, yeah, he probably saved his tenure, like Josh was saying, because I mean, obviously they're asking for a lot out of their guys, as they should. You know, you go to New York, you playing in the big spotlight, one of the biggest markets out there. Cat, the thing with Cat is it's tricky because obviously he's a great offensive
This off
player,
my
but he's
screen.
kind of this is ridiculous, man. You can't rewrite history, Gene. It's all right. Anyways, Cat, it's kind of tricky because obviously we all know the offensive player he is. He's one of the greatest offensive centers we've seen, arguably the greatest shooting big man we've seen, but he's a defensive liability. So in a
Right.
game like game two, if he doesn't have it going offensively, and then he's not giving you anything on defense, he's kind of going to get played off the court. The only thing is with the Knicks, if Cat's not on the court, where's their offense coming from? So at that point, you're only going to Brunson. So it's kind of like pick your poison. They need Cat to be
Yeah.
going offensively because they need him on the court because they need his offense. But if he's not giving them anything offensively, then he's going to get played off the court.
You want spacing or you want defense?
Yeah, I mean, it just depends what you want. But I mean, that's the kind of game we were waiting for with Cat. He's had a slow start to the conference finals. He comes out in the fourth quarter yesterday, 20 points. He had that monster and one dunk. And then he hits a huge three down the stretch, top of the key, to kind of, give him a nice cushion, which they held on to. I don't think he saved his career. Because if he has a bad game the next game, the Knicks fans are just going to shit on him, just like they were doing before. But he bought himself some time for sure.
Yeah, we're going to kind of stay along the lines of, because you know how New York is. If you don't produce, you might as well just get the hell out of here. We're going to talk about Tom Thibodeau, and it looked like he was just getting like ran around by Rick Carlisle and the Indiana Pacers, especially down the stretch. Do we think Tom Thibodeau saved his job in New York with those adjustments that he made down the stretch yesterday and in game 3 with sitting Josh Hart, who's been Rob said he's going to be the star player of this series, and now he's getting played out of the starting lineup. But let me hear it, Josh.
I'm gonna say I hope not, for the sake of my Knicks fans. I've said for a little minute now that Tom Thibodeau is a better floor raiser than ceiling raiser, and despite, I really think it came down to the players last night. I think they've been running their sets. They've just kind of failed. And like I said, it's been very static. And like we've said, Cat really unlocks the spacing in the offense and the flow of that offense. So, I mean, we're seeing Mitch. We're seeing things slow down a little bit. We're seeing Jalen iso ball for the first 16 seconds of each possession. And I don't think that's a sustainable offense. And I think that's entirely on Thibodeau. I think that his lack of utilization of the Knicks bench. And the way they come out and play last night, I mean, I think they can be used to their benefit. He just doesn't most times, and I think that's a large part of the why they're down in the series. Of course, Indiana has been playing lights out as well, but it's on the coach to make those defensive adjustments. It's on the coach to make those offensive adjustments when this player gets into foul trouble earlier, this unexpected factor occurs, and it feels like Rick Carlisle is just running laps around Thibs in that regard. So I think, like I said, I hope he didn't save his job for the sake of my Knicks fans. I hope they look to make an improvement at the coaching spot. I think it'd be great for player health, as well as just kind of the bench utilization. Some of those bench guys get more reps. I don't know. Did I think he did what was needed last night? Absolutely. Do I think he can do it again throughout the series? I hope he does, because then we'll have a series.
Yeah. Rob, let me hear your take on Tom Thibodeau.
I don't like Tom Thibodeau. Never have liked Tom Thibodeau. I mean, this guy, he runs his players into the ground all season. He could have the Thunder's bench, and he still wouldn't use them. Like, it doesn't matter who he has on his bench. He could have the last 5, 6 Man of the Year award winners, and he wouldn't use them. He would still only go 8 deep, because that's just what Tibbs is. He plays his starters 40 minutes a game. He's going to bring in 3 guys off the bench. He's going to run them into the ground. And then, like you said, when he needs to make adjustments, like when guys get in foul trouble and you need to go to other guys, he doesn't even know which guys to use because he's been using the same guys all year. You don't even
Right.
know what you have with your bench. I think the Josh Hart benching was a desperation move. They ended up winning the game. Josh Hart still had a good game yesterday, by the way. But I don't think the Knicks winning really had anything to do with Thibodeau's adjustments. I just think the Pacers had a horrible fourth quarter and Cat stepped up and saved the day.
Yeah.
Like it's been the same guys that Thibodeau was using yesterday, the same guys, like the guys that were actually producing, pretty much. Bridges has been playing. He had a big third quarter. Deuce McBride has been playing. He had a big third quarter. You bring in DeLon Wright. He did give some good minutes, but Tom Thibodeau's got to be on the hot seat. He won't be because of how far they've made it in the playoffs, which is kind of like what we've seen. And to his credit, I mean, to be fair, almost every coach in the league is getting like lapped by Rick Carlisle, even in the conference finals last year. I think Joe Mazzulla got completely outclassed by Rick Carlisle. We just won the series because we were a better team. That's what it was. Our guys made the plays. But I mean, Rick Carlisle, he's a great coach. Tom Thibodeau is not. Tom Thibodeau will be on the hot seat, win or lose, in my eyes at least.
I mean, the league for so long was, for the last probably decade and a half, was get the best 3 guys together that you can, put them on a banana boat in the summer, and get them ready for the next year. You know what I mean? And now Indiana's showing that you can be 8, 9 deep and have a chance to make a finals run. And then OKC is kind of doing the same thing with that. And I think it's very interesting that Tom Thibodeau, he'll save a bench spot for Taj Gibson, but he won't try to go after anybody else in the league. He'll always have one guy that he used to have on the Bulls just riding that bench. But all right, take off this damn asterisk. He keeps
What is
doing
going
this.
on here?
But
Yo,
yeah,
Gene,
To our
you got to get
epileptic,
this blasphemy off the
Very
bottom of my
sorry.
screen. It's getting
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to executive produce his show a whole lot differently on Friday. Don't worry, I'm gonna fuck his game up. All right, let's talk a little bit of Tyrese Haliburton. He had his superstar moment, but is he a superstar in this year's NBA? What do you think? Josh, start us off.
All right. So I've kind of been on the Tyrese Haliburton bandwagon since his King days. I thought it was so silly for the Kings to move on from him rather than De'Aaron, even at the time. So I will preface by saying I will probably be a little biased, especially since I've been calling him top 5 point guard the last couple of years. But I think absolutely, I think people conflate like good play with points on the board. I mean, I
Yeah.
was doing the same a little bit. I mean, I think you need to have points on the board to be a superstar, and I think he's doing enough. I think 20s is enough for a guy who generates the entirety of their offense with the way he is a general on the floor and his Chris Paul like playmaking. I mean, he is extremely efficient in that regard as well. And I think he's stepped it up defensively, and his clutch plays also fit the bill for a superstar. So I have no issue calling Tyrese Haliburton a superstar in these NBA playoffs and going into next season here. I think he's played like it. I think Pascal Siakam needs his flowers next year too with this Indiana run. He's been excellent. He was stellar in that game too. He had 35. So I mean, those two are getting it done, and who else would be the superstar there? I mean, do they necessarily need one? I mean, maybe, but I feel like they're kind of both doing it. But
I think
I don't know. Compared
I
to
think
some of the other point guards in the league, he does it a little differently, but I still think he fits the bill. And I'll pass it on to Rob.
yeah. I think Tyrese Halliburton, like he's made a name for himself, obviously. I think we gotta pump the brakes on superstar because he's had superstar moments and he's definitely rose to the occasion on many occasions. But like in my eyes, to be a superstar, you need a sustained period of excellence and consistency. And Tyrese Halliburton is like he's not consistent really at all. He has like like you look at his numbers, they don't really wow you. Obviously, you know what he brings to the game. He's going to average about 19, 20 points, 9 or 10 assists, 5 rebounds. The efficiency is going to be in and out. He's going to have games where he shoots the lights out, and then the next game he's going to be 5 for 16 with only 12 points. But when you need him, he's risen to the occasion every single time so far in this postseason. He had the game winner against the Bucks. He had the game winner against the Cavs, step back three from the top of the key. And then obviously one of the craziest shots in NBA history in game one, bouncing 10 feet up in the air off the backboard and dropping in. And then he does the Reggie Miller choke celly, even though the game wasn't over, but we didn't know that at the time.
I
Like
thought it was
this
over.
guy, oh, I thought it was over too. Obviously, Tyrese Haliburton did too. But like he's gonna give you a lot of superstar moments. He needs to be more consistent for me. That's what it is.
Buffy, thanks for stopping in, Buff. Appreciate it. But there's no way you could be a superstar. You're averaging 18 points in an NBA playoff series. Sorry. There's just something about it. You got to
Exactly.
be one of the best. Yeah, you got to be there. Like when they need a bucket, they need to. I mean, to his credit,
Think,
when they
sorry.
need a bucket to win the game, he's shown up. But I mean, it looks insane. He's beating somebody on the off the dribble and then takes like 5 steps back. It looks insane the way that he gets his buckets. But I don't think it's superstar type of play at the end of the day. But let him make another Eastern Conference Finals. I'm gonna have nothing but to say that this guy's a superstar at the end of the day.
he's like
Josh, you want to stop in?
he's like 10 for 11 and go ahead or
That video is
tying
crazy.
buckets. God, that's
It's insane.
nuts.
I think it's 12 of 14 now. I think 12 of
Oh, okay.
14 was the
So
number,
okay, slightly worse is the
which is
percentage on
ridiculous. It
4
doesn't
ball.
even sound like a real stat. Shooting
So
87% on go-ahead shots.
and I feel like I agree with you guys. My main issue with Tyrese Haliburton has been his lack of aggressiveness. I think that's part of it. I wish he kind of look to get himself more shots. I think he averages like 14 or 15.
He
Just
shot a mid
even
range yesterday, and I was like, I
playoffs.
didn't even know he had that in his bag.
He does. I mean, just rise up and fire because his shot is like up here too. So
Yeah.
I don't know why he doesn't do it more. But for the amount of shots he takes, I think he's a superstar. He's very efficient. I mean, not from three in this postseason. He's only shooting about 33%, which nowadays is not good really at all. But I think he's shooting like 60% from two as well. So that in my eyes kind of balances it out. But the way he commands their offense, the only person's effect or aura who comes close, I think, is Shea's. Just the way they make the offense flow when the ball's in their hands. Brunson is great.
We're having an aura meet off right now.
And
I don't wanna hear about Shea's aura, bro. I hear this every single day.
but I feel like Brunson is better at commanding an offense like Russell Westbrook, where he's going to get his or he's going to find that open man. And then if that isn't going to go through well, then you gotta start and look for something. You got to look for a new look again. These guys, they're keeping things going around. All right, the ball doesn't go to you and you don't get your shot. All right, ball back to me. I do my thing again for a second, and then boom, this guy's open as he's moving. There's a lot more of that within both their offenses, and I think that is to the point guard's credit. I think that's an art that we're losing a little bit is the floor general role. LeBron and Luka obviously still command it very well, but as the game goes into the hands of more ball handlers on the court, I think we're going to see less of that. And I think Tyrese Haliburton is probably the player that does it best behind maybe Luka. So
It kind of reminds me of like a Trae Young, where the offense or the team itself wouldn't even be the same without him at the helm of it. I mean, he is the team at the end of the day. You know what I mean? With just how many points he's generating and putting the defense on their heels constantly, they wouldn't be the same without Tyrese Haliburton, that's for sure. But is he a superstar? Did he make All NBA this year? No. Was he an All Star this year?
was
I
he
don't think he
second
was
team All NBA?
Tyrese Haliburton? I don't think
Yeah.
he was. We'll check this real quick.
Was he eligible?
I don't think he was. I
I'm
think it
not sure
was
if he
on the
played
second team.
65 games.
Second team, it was like Curry. You had
Oh yeah,
Ant on there.
oh, he was 13. So I was
Yeah,
just
he was
tripping about
13.
which team he
You're
was
right.
on.
You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. He was 13.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess he can be catapulted into these superstar conversations. All right. We're
Be
gonna
cool
move
to
on to
call
the
him
West.
French superstar until he gets the volume, at least shooting.
Till he wins a chip.
That too, I was going to say the playoff success too. I mean, granted, it's been my argument that the Pacers have played a lot of injured teams, but regardless, the guy who's been making it happen has still been him. So that's still something to be said.
You know, to touch on that, like Josh said, I think it's really funny how everybody has talked about how the Pacers have beaten up on all these injured teams the last couple years. But the Knicks have gotten this far beating two injured teams, and nobody cares. I
Nobody's
digress.
talking about it. All right, I'm done talking about the Knicks. This is enough. I can't wait. You'll hear
Only,
us next week.
only when it
We're
fits
gonna
the narrative.
when
Only
we
when
have
it
the New
fits
York
the.
Knicks parade and banner night next week when they're out of the playoffs. We'll talk more about the Knicks.
Yes,
But
injured. They beat an injured Pistons team. No Jaden Ivey, no Isaiah Stewart, and they beat an injured Celtics team too.
yeah, there's no way we were healthy during that series, and it's all the Magic's fault. All right, let's move on to the Timberwolves versus the Thunder. Game 1 and 2, Thunder dominated. SGA was cooking. OKC Their depth was just kind of on full display. And then game 3, the Wolves exploded, kind of shifted momentum. It was a 40-point game at almost halftime, dude. It wasn't even close. What our guy TJ was saying was a bye week for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Looks like maybe the OKC might have made this a series. So let's just give me your points on the series so far.
Um, the first 2 games went about how I expected. I predicted Thunder in 5. I just thought they were a better team, and I still think they're the better team. They came out games 1 and 2. They kind of came out flat the first half of game 2. I mean, the first half of game 1. I mean, they came out flat. They were down a couple points at the halftime. Offense wasn't really flowing. And then the second half, they just turned it up both ends of the court. I think they outscored the Timberwolves by 30 points in the second half of game 1. And then game 2 was much of the same. Like you said, SGA was absolutely cooking. J Dub has been doing his thing. The bench has been doing their thing. Defense has been locked in. Um, it was a dominant 2-game start. Obviously, the Timberwolves came out in game 3 with an absolute explosion. They were shooting the lights out. They were locked in on both ends of the court. They kind of hit OKC with that first punch, which is something that you usually don't see against the Thunder. Thunder are usually the one giving that first punch. I feel like if you come out and really give the Thunder, like if you want a chance to actually beat the Thunder, you got to come out and really hit them with a punch. Because if you come out and they put you down by 10 or 15 in the first quarter, you're not coming back. You're getting ran out the gym. So the Timberwolves did a good job making sure they were ready to play in game 3. But I think that game was just an outlier. I still think the Thunder are the much better team and that they're going to finish this up in 5. What's up, Sky? Let this. Oh, man. You're going to be on vacation in a couple of days too, bro. It's okay. We're saving a spot for you in Cancun. We're going to be on the jet skis with the cabanas and everything. But
JT's in rehab. He's working hard.
yeah. So the Timberwolves come out game 3. I just don't see it. I don't see it happening again. The Thunder are way too good of a team to let that happen. And I think it was a thing of like you can't really overreact to one game. Because if you remember the NBA Finals last year, the Celtics were up 3-0 with a chance to close it out at home, and then they lose the 4th game by almost 40 points. They were down by like 30 at halftime, and then they just kind of mailed it in the second half, went back home and finished it. I
He
think
wanted to party
that's
in Boston
pretty
with
much,
us, Rob.
yeah. I think that's going to resemble what we're going to see here. Thunder dominated the first 2 games. The Timberwolves get their first win of the series, winning by 40. The Thunder just came out flat and they kind of packed it in the second half. But I expect them to come out ready to go in game 4, get the road win, and then take it back to Oklahoma City and win their first conference title in 13 years, which Josh will absolutely love. I'm happy for you, Josh.
He's been
I
cheesing
don't
this
like
whole
G.
time.
I'm trying to
But
not get too excited, bro. I don't want to like. We're only up 2-1 right now. Like, it is a very winnable series for the Wolves. It's just
bro,
we
They
just
didn't
Dream
like
win that shit
hit
in ESPN
bro,
Worldwide of Sports like freaking
this
Lakers
asterisk
did.
is taking up half my screen, bro. You gotta chill. You're just mad because
Banners
the
don't
Knicks
have
can't even win it.
asterisks.
The Knicks can't even win an asterisk ring. They're playing injured teams this year, and they're still not going to win.
All right, we got to just leave him alone. Josh, let me hear your thoughts on the series.
So
Real quick.
I'm a little less glass half full than Rob. I'm not gonna go full doomer right now, but I did not like what I saw last game. I granted the Wolves shot 57% from the field, 50% from 3. We're
What
really
the
just
heck?
like that.
That ain't happening again.
That's absurd. I don't think that's going to happen again either. But I mean, look at the Pacers throughout this whole postseason. I mean, we can't say it didn't happen. Like, Dante DiVincenzo is making shots. I was like, what's going on? So I think Oklahoma City just gotta match that physicality, match that toughness. I think Ant came out looking like MJ reincarnate, like they trounced him around as. So shout out to him and shout out to the role players for actually stepping up and hitting their shots. If they play like that, they could definitely turn around the series, but I think at the very least we'll have a series if they play a little bit more like that than they did the first 2 games, because Oklahoma City did dominate. I won't say they were dominant like they were this season, but it looked like they decisively had that one.
I just want to see one close game down the stretch of Anthony Edwards versus SGA, but both these
Right.
games have just been blowouts. All right, while we're talking about that, who do you think's winning that matchup throughout the kind of like through the series? SGA versus AE, who's winning that matchup so far? Rob, start us off.
I mean, I think you got to go SGA. I mean, obviously, he has that game 3 stinker. He only had 14 points last night. Well, not last night, but 2 days ago. And
Selling
then
parlays
Anthony
across
Edwards.
America.
Yeah. Ant-Man comes out. He scores 30 points in 30 minutes to get his team on the board. And obviously, I mean, I know I'm saying it's just an outlier, but obviously you still got to give him the credit. They could have easily just laid down and taken a beating in game 3 and went down 3-0, but they came out and fought. All their guys were ready to play. And Ant-Man is the one that led the charge there. But I mean, SGA he's been consistently brilliant. His efficiency has taken a hit, but in my opinion, in the playoffs, all that efficiency stuff doesn't matter. You just got to do what you can to get your team wins. And SGA has been doing that. He's been rebounding. He's been playing defense. He's been facilitating the offense. And he's been their number 1 scorer. I think it's got to be SGA.
Let me hear it from you, Josh.
SGA is also going to be my pick. I think since game 1, Ant has really stepped it up. But to the point I was making about Tyrese Haliburton, the entire offense kind of plays through Shea and plays much better when Shea's out on the court. Obviously, we know about Oklahoma City's depth and their solid coaching, but the game looks different with him out on the court. And unless he goes into that little zone where he's like, ISO, I got to get all the buckets right now. Usually he has everybody moving and operating around him. But the game 3, he looked terrible. The whole team did though, so I'll give him a pass for that one. Got to see more Chet. I feel like Chet and Shea have been playing well together. Their plus minus together has been terrific. So I think that's going to be important just for spacing and for Shea to get his space. But I don't know. Ant has also been magnificent since game 1. I think Shea just has to pick it back up, and I think he wins this matchup between the two. But if he kind of falls off from here, Ant-Man could come down and dominate. We'll see. Even if OKC wins the series.
Yeah, I'll be the black sheep of the family, and I'm going to go with Anthony Edwards. I don't think that there's really a guy in the NBA that commands so much help defense when that guy's just bouncing around the perimeter and they're throwing 2 at him and he's getting blown by 2 defenders and he's beating the help at the rim with underneath layups, reverse layups. It's ridiculous, the stuff that the guy does. And he's a totally different guy at home. That's when he starts his shit talking and he starts going at guys, and you'll see a different Anthony Edwards when he's in Minnesota and he's chucking balls from 3 and pause, sorry. But yeah, I think Anthony Edwards, he's gonna make his mark, and kind of similar to what SGA did in those first 2 games, averaging 30. I think you're gonna see another good response from Anthony Edwards in this next game to kind of make this a series. I don't think that the Thunder are just gonna blow them out in game 4. Let's talk a little bit about the X factors for the Thunder. Somebody other than SGA. I feel like we talk way too much about this guy all the time. Who's another X factor that you want to see for the Thunder to be able to get going on this run in the Western Conference Finals? Joshua?
Well, this series so far, in my opinion, has been Chet. He's been excellent trying to meet physicality of Gobert and Randall and Naz Reid. He is battling down there, even if he is getting pushed around, as well as providing a little bit of spacing in that offense. I wish I could see a little bit more offense out of him. I wish we would play through him a little bit more. Sometimes we definitely dominate J-Dub and Shea as the focus of our offense right now. And I think a large part of that was because we missed Chet so long throughout the season with that hip injury. And we gave him less reps to be that number 2 man. But I think if he had more looks, I mean, Minnesota's his home. He's looked good throughout the entire series. I say we play through him for a game and see how it goes, because he's providing good minutes, good stats, and just good hustle on offense and defense. And I think we should feed Chet.
At Holmgren, yeah, number 2 overall pick. This guy needs to make his mark. Go ahead, Rob.
I think it's really a toss up between Mr. Lugent's Dort and that bald guy, Mr. AC. Like
Say his whole
both
name.
of these, Alex Caruso,
Yeah, give him his respect.
that bald guy. I'm not talking about Derek White either. Even though a lot of people say he is the Derek White of the Thunder, I wouldn't say he's that good. He's definitely
Forrest Burke
very
was wild in saying that.
Yeah, that's insane. But anyways, Alex Caruso, Lou Dort. I mean, they're both. You're talking about 2 of the best perimeter defenders in the league right now that can both guard up. Like Alex Caruso is at least guarding like 1 through 4, and then Lou Dort, he's like a really big physical guard. He can almost guard 1 through 5
Right.
out of the 2/3 spot. So like you always know you're gonna get elite defense from them. But when those guys start running out in transition, getting easy fast break opportunities, and then start hitting that 3 ball, it's like when I see Lou Dort hitting the 3 ball, in my eyes, it's like, okay, the game's over. You're not fucking. You're not fucking with the Thunder if Lou Dort and Alex Caruso are draining threes, and
It's
then
been like this
everybody
for
else is
years with Lou
doing their
Dort.
thing. Yeah, and then you guys got one. The Thunder have 1 through 5 playing defense, and then you got some of the bench guys making shots too. Like when Caruso and Lou Dort get going offensively, I feel like it's over. There's nothing you can do. Because at that point, they're getting offense from everybody. And everybody on that team is playing defense regardless.
All right, appreciate everybody listening. You guys moved to YouTube too. If you guys are on other platforms, but appreciate everybody on their Memorial Day listening to Rookie of the Year podcast. I'm going to talk about Jalen Williams. I think that's my X factor for the Thunder. This guy has really just had a monumental year this year, really catapulting himself. He's all NBA guy, all defensive team. This guy is an actual number 2 for the Thunder that they can rely on when he's being efficient and getting to the bucket. And him in transition is just watch your head because he might dunk on you. This guy's electric. But game 2 dropped 26 and 10 and complimenting SGA. I think he's a good number 2 piece for the Thunder and a reason why if they're going to be putting up a banner this year, it's going to be a lot of credit to Jalen Williams as well. All right, we're going to talk about this Thunder team as a whole. Do you
J-Dub
think
is
they have a
definitely very important. He's just a very corny guy. Like I'm sick of seeing his face. He says some
his
of the
outfits are
corniest shit.
crazy sometimes though. Yeah, you're right.
I'll never forget that one clip where he stares at the ref and goes, he's so stupid, bro. I hate that guy.
He needs to give
That whole team,
his brother some tips because that guy's a bust
that
in the
whole
draft right
team,
now.
bro. All they do is aura farm. Like they're aura farming after every single game, every post game, every pre-game, every interview, every soundbite you hear from a Thunder player.
Every
They're aura farming.
commercial. It's the young NBA. We gotta take it how it is.
They're jits, bro. That's all they are. We're our generation is going into the NBA. TikTok is hitting it, I'm sure. And that's going to be completely different, especially for the old heads. They're going to be like, what the hell are you guys doing? When they see Jared McCain dancing around, Paul George being 36-year-old podcasting. He's got Jared McCain over here in the corner
We
doing all
talked about
that.
Jared McCain a little last week. Jared McCain, just wait until he actually becomes a star in this league, bro. Everybody's gonna hate him. He's gonna be one of the most hated players in the league.
Oh, for
It's gonna be
sure.
like your boy Juju a few years ago when he was doing TikToks for the Steelers. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, I
Speaking
hated
about
him.
this
I hated
this
that,
young
bro.
team of the Thunder, we're going to talk about, do they have a chance to be an all-time team in the terms of, in the 2020s, you have a guy that just won his first MVP in the middle of his prime. This rebuild has gone, I mean, it's perfect. It's
Terrific.
probably one of the most perfect rebuilds you've probably ever seen. Sam Presti is putting on a clinic out there in Oklahoma City. Do you guys think they have a chance to be an all-time team for the next few years and kind of put their mark on the NBA history? Josh, let me hear it from you. Are we talking
Uh,
dynasty?
well, I'm not. I'm going to say we're going to be at least in the same vein that we were in the 2010s. Like, people forget 20. You'll have to excuse me. I was legit watching all these years, but we were injured every year. Excuse me. We, as in the Oklahoma City Thunder, either Surge, Kevin Durant, or Russell Westbrook would be injured in all years except for 2011 and 12 and 16. So they're absolutely dominating the NBA in the last stretch as well. There are obviously other teams doing it too, like the Heat, like the Spurs, and then up and coming Golden State, so on and so forth. But I think they have an opportunity that last iteration did not, like injury willing. Knock on wood. There's no injuries this. Good lord, with this group, I think they have a much better chance to stamp themselves like as the team of the 2020s, as the franchise of the 2020s. That the last iteration of the Thunder did not, because you had LeBron James in the league. Now you have LeBron James in his twilight. Granted, it's still LeBron James, but you don't have him for 20 years more, apparently. Um, Other than the Celtics, I really don't see a team that sets themselves apart. There will be up and comers like the Spurs and the Rockets, I think, are going to be contenders very soon. And they're also going to be dominating the league. I think the Thunder have done it first. They did it from the ground up. And I think with their treasure trove of picks, a good shooting coach, good staff, I think they have all the tools necessary to be a dynasty. Now, there's a lot of luck that comes into it, I think, because even with the Warriors dynasty, how lucky is it that the second bet or third best player in the NBA is going to sign on to your already historically good team? Then that's what it took for them to beat LeBron James. So there's always going to be factors like the Spurs could draft somebody in this draft again who then becomes a star. Then they have Stephon Castle, ex-player, Wemby, Fox, Vassell, and they're just an absolute god squad too. So we'll see. But I think they're absolutely propped to be that team thanks to Sam Presti, Serge Ibaka, Russell Westbrook, Paul George. Shout out all these guys because they were instrumental in getting all the draft picks needed in order for this small market to compete. Because otherwise, like you're going to see teams like Washington or the way the Magic were for years, where they're gonna struggle to get what they need to build any base to keep those players around. Whereas in Oklahoma City's short lifespan, they managed to do that with both groups of young guys. So I think there's something to be said about that culture.
Rob, is this team an
I would
all-time team?
say I would say if there's any team that's equipped to be that, it's got to be the Thunder. I mean, I thought the same about the Celtics, but even more so with the Thunder. Honestly, you have a still young star with Shea. He's only what 26 years old, around
28,
26,
27.
28,
27.
26,
27.
just turned 27 here.
So he's coming off an MVP, and this is like the third year in a row that he's played at an MVP caliber level. But he's coming off of his first MVP. It doesn't look like he's slowing down anytime soon. And then you got Chet and Jalen Williams that are both, 22, 23 years old. Like, you got all these young guys. And then you have a boatload of draft picks. And then they signed iHeart, they signed Caruso to pretty team friendly contracts so that those contracts can be off their books when they need to re sign Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren. Even if they keep the squad that they have right now, they can probably win multiple championships. But then you consider the fact that they could go out and flip some of these draft picks maybe and get another star, which I don't even think they need to do. But eventually, if they need to, they will have that option as well. I mean, obviously, this league, it's tough to repeat in the league right now. No team has repeated since the Warriors did it. Like, the league is changing. They're putting all these hard restrictions now on, the second apron and all that stuff, making it harder for guys, making it harder for teams to re-sign their guys. And then the Peace, like, the started putting down 4 teams that go into the second apron have been, like, they're really starting to crack down on it. If there's any team that's built for it, I think it's the Thunder. But obviously, you never know what's going to happen with injuries. We thought the Celtics were going to go back to back, and here we are now. So anything can happen. But I think the Thunder are that team. Not just long term, but even this season. Like, if they win the championship this season, you're probably looking at a top 5 season of all time from an NBA team. They won 68 games in the most talent-rich era that we've seen. Highest point differential of all time, one of the highest net ratings of all time. And if they were to finish it with a championship, I mean, that's easily top 5 season of all time, maybe top 3.
Yeah, the West too. You got to like factor the fact that they're in the Western Conference, which is the battle every single year. And those regular season games matter in the Western Conference, which is crazy because the seeding is. I mean, it's only a couple games sometimes, and
And then another thing, I'm sorry, but another
no,
thing,
go ahead.
like Josh was mentioning, like, you got all these young teams that are up and coming. The Spurs have Wembenyama, they have Stephon Castle. They could use that number 2 pick to go out and trade for a superstar, or they might draft another superstar. And we all know Wemby's coming. So
Yeah,
this Spurs team is going to be a championship contender for probably the next decade. And then the
right.
Rockets have this good young team with all these assets. And then Dallas, I mean, Dallas is kind of older, but all of a sudden, you got Kyrie and AD, and then you get the number 1 pick. So there's a lot. I mean, that number 1 pick, knowing that it's going to be Cooper Flagg, that's one of the most valuable number 1 picks
Right.
that we've seen in a long time. So there's a lot of directions that they could go in there. They're probably going to keep it as they should. And then even in the East, like, the Pacers are on the come up. This is pretty much the same team that they have last year. I think they were a good team last year, but I think they're even a lot better now than they were last year with pretty much the same team. They got a lot of young guys that are kind of just starting to gel together. And then they have a great coach in Rick Carlisle. And then you got teams like the Orlando Magic, who nobody talks about, with 2 budding superstars in Paulo Banchero and Franz Wagner. Obviously,
Yeah,
we have to see what they're going to do around those guys. Because, I mean, the Magic's roster right now after those 2 is atrocious. But
KCP.
we'll
He
get
was a
on that.
great pickup.
We'll touch on that another time. But there's just so many up and coming teams right now.
Yeah,
And then we know the Celtics, obviously, we don't know what they're going to do, but Tatum's going to be back eventually before the age of 30. And then we have all these guys that we can trade, and who knows what we can get for them. There's
Brad,
so
we
much
trust.
competition.
Do you
And
think? Go ahead, Josh, because I'm going to shift it after this real quick. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and to add to Rob's point about the contracts too, not only will Oklahoma City be best prepared to fit those apron requirements and the new financial requirements with the CBA, but they have Isaiah Joe, they have Lou Dort, they have Aaron Wiggins, they have these guys that are the role players now, and by the time their contracts are going to be 3-4 years, they'll be there for some time. That'll be hopefully several years into what would be a dynasty or potential dynasty or championship runs. So I feel like a lot of the teams that do win championships, you see them trying to retain the star players, and obviously that makes the most sense. But I feel like a lot of the reason these teams fall apart is because they lose their role players and their depth around these star players. And I think what's different about this Oklahoma City run is that they have these guys locked up. They will have these role players that have been here for years, that'll have the experience with our stars. So I think that'll be interesting to see how that factors in too.
Give me like a quick, because we're in 2025. I honestly think Oklahoma City is going to win their championship this year. Do a quick, where would you rank them in the 2020s decade of champions? Because you have Denver who won in 5 games, you have Boston who won in 5 games, you have that Lakers team who destroyed the Heat. You also have that Bucks team, which is also another iconic team. Where would you kind of fit this team as in that top 5 of teams if they go out and win a championship? Josh, start me off.
I think they're going to be as iconic as that Milwaukee team was. I think in a head-to-head matchup, it's going to lose versus probably that Denver team as well as the Celtics. So I think I'm going to put. Obviously you can't really do tiers with 5 teams, but if there were to be a tier, I think Denver and Boston were definitely in that top tier, and I think your championship team last year, the Boston Celtics, was probably the best so far. Thunder would give them a good 7-game series. I was looking to potentially that matchup in the finals, but
right, I think so too. I think they would run that last year's Celtics team 7 games for sure. Rob, let me hear it from you.
I would slot him in number 2, maybe even as like a 1A, 1B.
Right.
With last year's Celtics team. I think so far, I think these are the 2 most dominant teams we've seen this decade. Easily. I don't even think it's really close. The Celtics they ran through the entire NBA last year. The Thunder, they struggled with the Nuggets in that second round, but they ran through the first round, albeit the Grizzlies were injured. But even before the Grizzlies were injured, they were running them off the court.
Right.
They're doing good right now. I'd have them 1B. I think they had a more dominant regular season than the Celtics last year, but obviously the regular season is only half of it, and I don't even think I would count it as half because the playoffs is way more important. So I would go Celtics at the top, slide in the Thunder right under them.
They
Then
got
I
to win
think
it this year, but yeah, you're right.
Then I think you go after that. I think you go with that Warriors team.
Oof.
I don't know, man. A lot these championship teams we've seen so far this decade have been really. I think
Mauricio, what's up,
Mauricio.
papito?
Yes, sir. What's up, bro?
Appreciate the love.
I don't know, man. I think the Bucks, as good as that Bucks team was, I think the Bucks are probably the worst championship team we've seen this decade.
Damn, nobody gives them their respect.
Crazy to say. Which is crazy to say. But I mean, it's all relative. We're comparing
Then the
teams that
Lakers?
won championships. Yeah, definitely.
I know we all say it's
Yeah.
Mickey Mouse, but that Lakers team was good. They were running the NBA
Bro,
before COVID.
everybody shits on the Lakers
I
2020
know
championship
K-Mid is
run.
bad now,
Bro,
but
even
K-Mid that player left a different taste in your guys' mouth. Pause. But still, you guys know, you guys absolutely know, and you guys know Drew is like that too. And there weren't defenders like Drew. You got to give
Chris
that Bucks
Middleton.
team their flowers. And Giannis
Bro,
was by far the best player in the league that season.
Yeah,
you got to give
he might have
Chris
had the
Middleton
best.
his credit, but are you taking second option Chris Middleton over second option Anthony Davis? That's not even a question. I mean,
No, not even
that
close.
Lakers team was dominant, man.
With Drew Holiday as your third man,
People forget that before COVID, the
Bobby
Lakers were like the best team in
Portis.
the league that year. The Lakers had one of the top defenses. LeBron was a top 2 MVP candidate. Anthony Davis was Defensive Player of the Year candidate. KCP was playing great basketball. Alex Caruso was playing great basketball. Like that team was really good, bro.
Josh is
It was
not
a really
sold on
good
it.
team. Yeah, they won a championship. You're right. They're still not better than those Bucks. That Bucks team also had Brooke Lopez and Bobby Portis and a solid bench. Like what?
So do the
The
Lakers,
the
bro. They had a
erasure is
solid bench too.
Dwight Howard.
yeah, I was gonna
JaVale
say
McGee.
the corpse of Dwight Howard. Like I was gonna say, you name their good bench players. Alex
Bro,
Caruso.
Dwight Howard, no
Dwight
funny
looked
shit, bro. Dwight Howard is one of the reasons they won that championship. I know we're
honestly,
off.
yeah, he was
We
pretty
are way
solid.
off
So was
course right now,
Rondo.
but bro,
We are.
like,
But
oh man, you got to
All
give
right,
that Lakers team their credit, bro.
we are way off course.
I'm one of the biggest Lakers haters, but you
I
got to
am.
give
They
that
were better than the Warriors, who are also trash.
This was good talk. This was good talk. We're gonna talk a little All NBA. I want to get your guys'
Dwight
who's
Howard
your
is
Dwight Howard is isn't he already in the Hall of Fame?
should be.
Am I tripping?
Dwight
I'm
Howard
pretty
had
sure
one of
he
the
already
best runs as a center in the early 2010s as anybody.
like
Yeah.
he's been retired for so long. I think he's in the Hall of Fame already.
We're
Or I
not gonna
might be
get
tripping.
here in Orlando. We're not gonna let any of that disrespect. No matter what he was doing in the locker room, looking at people's towels and shit. I don't. We'll respect his game.
Hey man, you can say he needed a walker with the Lakers, but if the Lakers don't have Dwight and JaVale McGee, they're not winning that ring. And
Yeah,
we saw
JaVale.
what happened. And we saw what happened when they lost JaVale and Dwight. They had no big men. Anthony Davis was their only big man, and he hated playing as the only big man. He preferred to play the four. This is part of the reason why AD was crying. Rightfully so, though, because the Lakers just decided to give away all of their depth and all of their big men.
Wu-Tang, China
Yeah,
gives a bag. I mean,
yeah.
they got to go get paid, get that last
They love
paycheck.
him in China.
Was it
All right,
China?
let's
I
talk
thought
a
it was
little All
Taiwan.
NBA.
I thought
Yeah,
it was
same.
Taiwan too.
I think it is Taiwan.
They loved him
Who
in
would
Taiwan. Sorry,
give me an
JJ.
All
It was
NBA? Either give me a
still in
surprise. We're gonna
Taiwan.
look at these All NBA teams. What's the biggest surprise for you? Whether it was somebody who made it, somebody who got snubbed, or even a player that ended up on the list. Give me your surprise All NBA, Joshua.
Uh, if anybody, I guess it would probably be Jalen Williams. As much, I mean, I thought he deserved it. He was
I knew you were going to say
statistically
that.
one of the best, if not best, defenders in the league, while also giving you 25-5 on the other side efficiently. So I was a little surprised by it. I thought we'd see maybe a Sengun over Jalen Williams, or I think Kevin Durant was 3 games off. Otherwise, I think it should have been KD, but maybe Book
Right.
even. But they missed playoffs, so I was very happy with the pick. But otherwise, I thought the selections were very good. Maybe I'd shift down LeBron into third team, but I mean, he was, if I recall, they said he was the only player with a negative plus minus in the All NBA teams, which is kind of like mind blowing to me, because that either meant that he was not as great, which I mean, I will give LeBron his credit. I did watch him a fair amount this season. He was superb.
Josh is
Absolutely
LeBron
deserving.
sexual confirmed.
He did foul KD in game 2. Just saying. Just saying. Never could be a LeBron sexual. But anyway, that's veering off again. I thought that was kind of a mind warp. Either he was very deserving because his team around him was so trash, and he also managed to help carry them, 2-3 seed. Or he wasn't really all that deserving. So I think he should have been either shifted around a little bit or something. But I guess LeBron and Jalen Williams are the only surprises to me. I thought everybody was very deserving.
I don't really think any of the picks were surprising. I was just a little. I don't really like the placement, like of some of these guys.
Yeah,
Donovan Mitchell on first team. I get it. His team was really good this year. Donovan Mitchell was not a top 5 player in the NBA this year. That is absolutely ridiculous. He wasn't better than Cade Cunningham. He wasn't better than Anthony Edwards. He wasn't better than Jalen Brunson. Was he better than LeBron? Like, that's at least 3 or 4 guys right there. I mean, I get it. His team wins 64 games. He's the driving force. But all of these guys were, like, unquestionably better than Donovan Mitchell this year, I think. And then another thing, Cade all the way down on the third team is kind of ridiculous to me.
ridiculous.
A
Yeah,
guy that averages, like I said, in my opinion, Cade is arguably a first team All NBA guy this year. You're talking about a guy that averaged 26 points, 9 assists, and 6 rebounds to bring back a Pistons team that hasn't been in the playoffs in how long?
right.
The first playoff appearance in 5 or 6 years. The first time they won a playoff game at home, and I don't even know how long. Wait, no, they actually didn't win a playoff game at home, but they did win 2 games in the series. Just to bring that team back from the dead with the injuries that they have. No Jaden Ivey. They lose Isaiah Stewart there in the playoff series. Obviously, that doesn't have anything to do with the All NBA team, but third team,
For
third
what
team
it's
for a guy that third team for a guy that averaged 26, 9, and 6 with good efficiency and led a team to a 6 seed that has been awful for the last 2 decades. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I
Josh, what
don't
were you gonna
think
say?
Mo.
for what it's worth, he was only 21 points technically, but he was within 21 votes of Steph Evan Mobley, and Jalen Brunson, being only 9 votes away from Jalen Brunson. And then the difference between him and Karl Anthony Towns on third team is 50 votes, 50 plus votes. So I
I
think
think I
it
think
was
Cade.
absolutely close.
I think Cade was
I
better than every. I think he was better than every single player on the second team, though. All 5 of them. He was better than them this year.
Mm. I would be willing to hear an argument for Brunson and Steph, I think.
I would argue that Steph should have been on the third team.
I I would be okay with that.
I think just the All NBA looks weird now with they're doing position lists and then you have to play a certain
Yeah.
amount of games. It's just not that wow factor that it used to be to make All NBA. And you have millions supermax contracts on this. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's insane to
I
me.
do want to say though,
Go ahead,
I
Ron.
don't mind. I don't mind the 65 game rule change because in my eyes, if you're missing at least 20 games of the season, you don't deserve to be All NBA.
I agree with
You're missing at least a quarter of the season. There's no way you were a top 5 or top 10 or top whatever performer if you're missing at least a quarter of the season, maybe a third of the season.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't have a problem with that. Everybody like has a gripe on it. And if you look back at the history, most guys that are missing that many games aren't going to make these teams anyway. So people are just
Yeah.
making a fuss out of it because it's a rule now.
that. Mm-hmm.
My my biggest surprise is going to be Donovan Mitchell's counterpart in Evan Mobley. Did I think that Evan Mobley was going to make an All NBA team at the beginning of this season? I would have told you hell no. Did I tell you he had? Would I tell you he had potential for sure? But did I think he was going to make All NBA and win a Defensive Player of the Year? Heck no. But this guy really stepped it up this year. Super talented, and just 23 years old. Evan Mobley makes his first All NBA appearance, which is very impressive. Evan Mobley's going to be on there for years to come, and yeah, he's the first guy in Cleveland history to be Defensive Player of the Year and All NBA, which is a team that had LeBron at one point. So
And keep in mind,
congratulations, Evan Mobley.
a lot of the guys that we're seeing on the All NBA team this year, a lot of these guys, there's a good chance that they're not going to be on the team next year. Not that they're not good enough, but
Yeah,
we had so many guys this year that were ineligible because of the injuries. I mean, you got Luka Doncic. He's like a lock for first team almost every season.
Yeah.
Wembenyama probably would have been first or second team.
hmm
KD missed out. Joel Embiid is usually a first team All NBA guy. And then you got Anthony Davis. Zion Williamson was playing at an All NBA level. Zion's team sucks. I will put that out there. But he does play at an All NBA level. Kyrie Irving, LaMelo Ball, his team also sucks, but you got a guard that's averaging almost 30 points a game. Like this is an All
Right.
NBA caliber player.
For sure.
And then the boys in Orlando. You got two boys in Orlando that I think would have been in contention. They would have made the team this year, I think, if they were healthy. Paulo for
Sure.
sure would have made the team. Maybe first team if he was healthy. And then Franz probably would have been on a team too.
Both of them definitely have
That's
potential.
probably like 10 guys that I just named. And there's only 15 spots. There's just so much talent in the league now. There's going to be guys getting snubbed all the time. There's just
It's
too
the
many good
truth.
players.
All right, let's move off NBA. We've been talking NBA for the last hour.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little MLB. Phillies, man. Hottest team in baseball. What do you guys think? They're 9-1 in the last 10 games, 34-19, first in the NL East. Kind of give me your take on the Phillies this year, boys, and what's getting them going. Rob, Josh, anybody? Josh, go ahead.
All right.
Sure. I was gonna say, I guess I'll do it. Phillies. I have watched some Phillies games here and there. Been keeping up with their season. They've got some good young pitchers that I'm excited about. We actually saw the debut of Mick Abel recently, and he was phenomenal, breaking Phillies records. In fact, as well as they've had a recent development with their bullpen losing their main lefty arm. Yep, Schwarber. Schwarber has been nuts. I mean, you've been seeing it from the bats. Trey Turner took a little bit of picking up. He was hitting for average, well, his average of about 300, but wasn't hitting for any power. We're starting to see a little bit more power out of him, more swipe bags. Philly, I mean, they're built to contend. They've been building this team for years to contend. And we're seeing the effects. I mean, Wheeler's been playing well. Nola not so much. Nola's been on. I think he's on the IL right now, dealing with some injury that's causing Aaron Nola to pitch horribly. But I mean, everything else, it looks like they're clicking. Like I said, the only hiccup really being that they lost one of their pitchers to PED. Yeah, it was Jose Alvarado. I believe their main remedy for lefties out the bullpen. So I mean, they might be looking to patch that up. But otherwise, I mean, they've got Christopher Sanchez. They got plenty of arms to try and deal with that until then, or they could go out and look and try and make a trade. They got plenty of assets for that as well. So I think they're in the driver's seat and in their division. I think it's sorry, Skyler. But I think they're comfortably ahead of Atlanta and the Mets in that division. I think it's going to take a big turnaround for really anybody to meet and match what the Phillies are doing unless they just have a big collapse. But in the NL as a whole, I think the Phillies are just another team fighting for the chip. I think they got a lot in their division. Yeah, they're probably going to win the pennant, in my opinion. But we got a lot of work with the rest of that conference.
Michael Seaman.
Phillies
What's up,
of
buddy?
the Red Sox.
What's
I
up,
know they've
Mike?
left you sad. That boy Mike has gone to Phillies World Series games and left out of there sad. That's a real fan. I'll give him that.
The Phillies, man. I was a little surprised by how they started the season. They didn't come out kind of like how I thought they would. But they've really turned it on. They have a really good lineup. They have the pitching. I mean, like Josh was saying, this is a team they've been kind of building a championship roster for a couple years now. They've never been able to put it together. although they did go to the World Series and lost to that Astros team, that Asterix team. I mean,
Right.
It's a real asterisk
yeah,
team.
guys, yeah, that's a legit asterisk. I mean, you got to line up Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber.
I hate this guy.
Can we get a new? Can we get a new producer? Let. All right, man. I'm producing the next show myself.
Yeah. Any producers, just drop a comment. We're looking for a new producer.
Yeah,
We
we're
have an
looking for
old
new
guy that looks like a
producers.
garden gnome with his beard. We need
Send your
somebody new.
resume. Send resumes. We're looking for new producers. But yeah, this Phillies team, I mean, they have a great lineup. Trey Turner has been great this year. Bryce Harper, obviously MVP caliber player when he's right. Kyle Schwarber has been on an absolute tear. And I think it's interesting. The Phillies kind of finally moved out of that Kyle Schwarber in the leadoff spot. We've seen Trey Turner there a little bit. I think they had Stott in the leadoff spot yesterday. Um, Nick Castellanos, I don't know if I mentioned him, but he's a guy that, um, he gives them some timely hitting, especially in the postseason. Alec Bohm, however you want to say it. He's big for them. And then they have the pitching. I mean, Zach Wheeler has been a Cy Young level pitcher for a few years now. And then we know what Nola's capable of. Like, this is a championship level roster. They're probably going to make some more moves around the trade deadline, but they have the pitching, they have the lineup for it. They just got to put it together and need to be healthy when the playoffs roll around. If there's any team that can knock off the Dodgers in the NL, I think it's the Phillies.
Think so too. They have a chance, especially with that environment in Philadelphia. That's a real
Yeah.
like sports town. Like
I
our guy
hate Philly
Mike.
sports. I hate Philly sports, but the Phillies home playoff games, the Phillies might have the best home crowd in baseball.
Hmm. They have one of the best just
Make
ballparks
sure
in
you cut that
baseball.
clip out, Gene. I never said that. Make sure you cut that out.
Mhm.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the Boston Red Sox and Rafael Devers hitting grand slams, scoring 8 RBIs in a game. Yeah, I know, Mike. One day they'll put it up for you guys. At least you got the Eagles.
We're talking Devers now.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit of Devers. This guy's second in RBIs now, I think. 12 home runs, 48 RBIs recently. Had that walk-off single, had a walk-off homer the other day. But is he going to be able to put the Red Sox over the top and put them in the playoffs? That's my biggest question. Is we're just been mediocre. We're bringing up guys like Marcelo Meyer, hopefully to be able to turn this around. We got Alex Bregman who just got hurt, so there's going to be room for some young guys like our guy Roman Anthony to be able to kind of make their mark on this team. But I think it starts with pitching with the Red Sox. But Devers, everybody was getting on him because he didn't want to play third base after Bregman got hurt, or he didn't want to play if he wasn't playing third base. But this team goes as Rafael Devers' bat goes. Like that's what we need him for. And yeah, give me your take on the Red Sox and Rafael Devers, Josh.
More or less what you have been saying, Javi. I have been doing a little bit of following of the Red Sox. I watch quite a bit of MLB, any games I can watch. Unfortunately, they schedule them all at the same time. But
We will one day, Mauricio. Don't worry. We got to get a global fan base. But go ahead, Josh.
we expanding one day. Yeah, hold on. Sorry, Mauricio sidetracked me. I will talk about soccer. Go Spurs! That's all I know about soccer. I watched Premier League when I was in middle school and rooted for them. I saw they won.
You look
Something.
like a Tottenham
Lamine
Spurs fan.
Yamal. Lamine Yamal, my favorite soccer player as of a week ago.
I mean,
But,
he's the best in the world. All right, Josh, let's get back on track.
all right, my bad. All right. Red Sox. Don't like them. They suck. I kid. They're mid. I mean, they should be better in my opinion. like you said, a lot falls on their pitching and then kind of on Devers. I feel like the bats will get going. You're going to get contributions from different guys on different days. Abreu, Campbell, Devers, obviously. Bregman's hurt, but Bregman
Aaron
is
Duran
obviously a
for sure.
leader. Yep. So you have the bats to get it going, but like you said, I think it's the pitching. I think they need Bueller to be healthy. Giolito would be cool to see some good stuff out of him. They signed him last year, and he immediately got hurt. So if you can kind of turn things around, put some good outings together, that'd be excellent for your club. Crochet, he's been lights out. There, I think, should be very little complaints. But
Right.
otherwise, I think it's going to be on your rotation. Just kind of keep it up the whole year. Bello too. There are just a lot of guys that have battled injuries. It's kind of a prove it year for them. I feel like it's going to be prove it year for your rotation. You got Crochet holding it down, but you need those guys to follow it up. Support them bats.
As
Robbie?
much as I hate to say it, I feel like the Red Sox actually have like a good roster. I think it's mostly just been health. They've been missing a lot of guys out of the lineup. They've been missing some pitching too. I mean, Cutter Crawford, he wasn't that good last year,
Hope so,
but they're
Mike.
missing him. And then Tanner Houck, obviously he wasn't good in his starts this year, but now he's injured too. That could be part of the reason why he wasn't that good. And then Alex Bregman going down with the injury. Casas out for the year now. Like, there's only so much you can do when so many of your top contributors are hurt. And then the pitching has just been disappointing. Um, Obviously, Garrett Crotch has been good. He's been lights out, actually. But Giolito, they need him to have to come back and be better. Because, like, they have the bats. They just need to be healthy, and they need their pitching to get going. Rafael Devers had a piss poor start to the season, but he's really caught fire. He's been arguably a top 3 to 5 performer in the AL, which is saying a lot after the start that he had. And now with Bregman getting injured, the crybaby is going to get his way. He's going to be able to play third base at least for
We're
the
still
next
not even
couple
going to use him
months.
there.
I
I still
wouldn't.
won't play third.
He's not a good fielder. His defense isn't good, but his bat. I mean, they needed Devers' bat. They needed Devers' bat really bad. He's their best offensive player.
Fenway Magic.
Him and Bregman. But
Everybody forgets about Jaron Duran. I think our team goes based on Jaron Duran goes sometimes. He
yeah,
went,
and then
I think,
Duran
4
hasn't
for
been
4
playing.
yesterday, and we still lost though.
Didn't
Fenway
Duran miss
Magic.
time too?
I think he's
Duran
been.
missed time this year? No?
No, I think he's been healthy all year.
He's
Other
just been
than when
mid.
that Cleveland Guardians fan told him he should have went through with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the Red Sox team. I'm excited. I think they'll get going. Like you said, the pitching will get going. But Devers, there's nothing like having that lefty in Fenway, bro. Like that Fenway, that pesky pole. I think it's only like 310 feet over there, bro. You just wrap that thing around and it's easy homers. And that short wall is easy homers. And that's one thing that the Orioles did against us this past series is they hit, I think, 3 bombs yesterday, and we couldn't put up a run.
Fenway Park got the Green Monster and they got Pesky Pole, but Yankee Stadium's the only one that gets shitted on for being a Little League park.
Well, sorry about it. It's just iconic. Nobody talks about the new Yankee Stadium anymore, buddy. Let's talk about Ronald Acuña and the Braves. What does that mean for them? And yeah, how is that going to catapult the Braves into what's been kind of like a mediocre season, but they've been getting their flow going a little bit better. But Josh, give me your 2 cents on Acuña.
Well, the Braves
First pitch, homer.
obviously. Yeah. Well, I was going to get to that. Well, the Braves have obviously struggled, and a lot of it has been kind of everything.
That's the
But
truth.
Would you
a
admit that?
large reason, I think, is because they can't get going. And when you add the best leadoff hitter in baseball to the mix, you're obviously going to have success like Acuña did. As you mentioned, first pitch bomb this weekend had what, two bombs? Two? Yeah.
Hit the grenade
Really
stage.
nuked it, and I think he's going to absolutely provide the jolt that this ball club needs. I think Strider just came back, and he's pitching again. I'd like to say off of that little hamstring issue he was dealing with. With Strider in the rotation, even if his velo's down a few ticks, you still have Spencer Strider pumping out almost 100. You got Chris Sale in the lineup with him, or rotation, excuse me. You got Bryce Elder, who's all right. AJ Smith-Shawver, who's young and all right. You got some good arms. You got the bats. I mean, if the bats can get going, I mean, they need Matt Olson to do a little bit more, but I think they can turn it around. No, I don't think they're necessarily going to win the NL East. I think that's going to be the Phillies. But I think they can definitely contend for a wild card, but it's going to be tough. They had a rough start to the season, and all these guys are going to need to come back, get healthy fast, and play at least up to par, just to kind of keep them in the race this year. Otherwise, they might want to look to retool for next year.
Absolutely.
I mean, the Braves, they had a really bad start to the year. And then they kind of start piecing things together a little bit. And now you get your superstar back with Ronald Acuña. I think it's huge. Ronald Acuña is one of the biggest stars in this league. Absolutely sensational player. He just plays with so much swagger. Like, I know I was knocking on a few guys earlier in the show for the whole aura thing, but Ronald Acuña, he's like, this guy's just dripping in aura. He steps up to the plate. It's just crazy. First game back in a year, you step to the plate, first pitch, 470 to center field. And then he hits the celly on top of it. Like, he's the definition of a superstar. Incredible player, 5-tool player. But kind of like Josh was saying, I mean, it might be too late for the Braves after that poor start to the season that they had. And then they play in a loaded division with the Phillies and the Mets in there, obviously two of the best teams in the NL right now. So the Braves are way behind the 8 ball right now. But I think just for that team and for baseball in general, Acuña coming back is huge. Like, international superstar. He's one of the biggest. He's one of the faces of the league for sure. Like, when this guy, him playing is good for baseball.
This is like a
So
team
happy to see.
morale point. Like,
Yeah.
imagine you have Ronald Acuña. You're the ninth hitter. You have Ronald Acuña right there in the box behind you.
Like, that's got to be just such a boost for the team in general. Like, after the poor
Yeah.
start to the year that they had, you get it back to 500, and now your superstar player is coming back. Like, that's got to be a huge boost. What
I don't know
MLB
who.
teams
I
do you
think
guys
Josh
root
is
for?
Josh
Everyone
is
back
St.
too.
Louis. Rob is Pittsburgh, right? Josh, you're St. Louis.
I am. St. Louis Cardinals.
I'm not a
Rob is
Pirates
Pittsburgh.
fan, bro.
He should be.
Should be a Pirates fan. I should be too.
Nah, he's a Yankees
I'm a
fan, and then
Yankees fan.
I'm Red Sox.
Grew up as a Yankees fan. I have been
All
to
right, we're gonna
Pittsburgh though. PNC Park is beautiful.
Yeah.
we're gonna talk a little bit NHL. I mean, we're in Florida. We're gonna talk about these dominant Florida Panthers.
I'd
Up
rather not.
3-0. Carolina is just getting worked. They're putting up goals on goals on goals in this series. Yeah, just give me a quick. What's your thoughts? Will the Panthers repeat? They've just been so dominant. Go ahead, Josh. I know Wu-Tang. It's crazy things are happening.
I think it's more or less what we're going to see is probably what we saw last year. I think the series between apologies, I had not been following the Edmonton series very closely, but if we see another repeat of last year, man, I think we're gonna have
Edmonton is up
another
2-1, I believe.
yeah,
Yeah,
we're gonna have another Stellar Cup. Sorry, I tend to hate watch both the Stars and Oilers, but did not get around to it the last couple nights. It's shameful to admit, but I mean, if we see another Stanley Cup between the Oilers and the Panthers, I don't see why they wouldn't repeat. Obviously, the Oilers had that late series run last year and almost secured the bag. I would have been the upset of the century, in my opinion. All in all, I don't have much compliments to say towards the Panthers as a Tampa Bay Lightning enthusiast, other than they've just been playing stellar hockey all around. They've been getting contributions from everybody offensively, and then they've been doing well to.
Bobrovsky, he's a beast, bro. Being a
Yeah,
goalie.
yeah.
When you have a
I'm gonna
reliable
say
goalie like that, it's ridiculous.
you're not.
Rob,
Call me a
quick
front runner
quick
all you
Stanley
want, bro.
Cup.
I've been a Yankees and Steelers fan for 20 years. Actually, I've been a fan of all three of these teams for my whole life. So it is what it is. But
Blue
the
say no, get
Panthers,
him
I
going.
mean, I don't even like this. I feel bad for Hurricanes fans. This is embarrassing, bro. They're getting like absolutely destroyed. They look like a lottery team right now. They've been how many goals have they scored in the series? Like 4? They're getting outscored
Yeah,
like
something like
15 to
that.
4.
Yeah.
I don't really have a hockey team. I would go with one of the Florida teams just because I'm here.
Go Bulls.
Yeah. But yeah, Xavier knows. I'm not lying. My trio of teams is crazy, but I've been a fan of all these teams my entire life, so it is what it is. But
You
the
should
Panthers, I
get
mean,
it tatted on you. People would just look at you even crazier.
all three of
Like
them.
yeah, just get all of them.
Where should I get it? Like neck tats? I mean, I'd have to cover them up because they don't like that.
Right across the
But
forehead, bro.
yeah, I mean, the Panthers. This is domination. I was actually considering going to the game tonight because they're probably going to pull off a sweep. I'd honestly be shocked if the Hurricanes even won a game. The Hurricanes have lost 15 conference finals games in a row. So if the Knicks go on a 10-year run of, I mean, that makes no sense though. If that were the case, I would be a Warriors fan and a Patriots fan. But the Panthers, I think game 3 was 6-2. I'm pretty sure game 2 they won like 5-0. Like the Canes aren't even competitive. If you're a fan of Carolina, you've got to be demoralized. You've lost 15 conference finals games in a row. If you lose tonight, this is going to be the 4th time in a row that the Carolina Hurricanes have been swept in the conference finals. At this point, just let somebody else make it. Why are you even showing up? Just to lay down. It's embarrassing. The Panthers are going to go back to back. I just think, I mean, they're better than everyone. Like they're bigger than them, they're stronger than them, they're faster than them. Their defense is better. They're just better in every aspect of the game right now. I kind of
Remain.
hope they play the Stars. It would be cool to see a rematch with the Oilers, especially last year after the Panthers went up 3-0. And then the Oilers came storming back, looked like they were maybe going to pull off a 3-0 comeback in the Stanley Cup final, which would have been nuts. So it would be cool to see a rematch. But I kind of want to see the Panthers play against a different team this time. This would be the 3rd year in a row that they're in the Stanley Cup finals. I think they lost to the Avalanche the year before last when they beat the Oilers.
Yeah.
So it would be cool. Obviously, it's great for Florida.
Oh, that was the Bulls.
Huh?
Yeah, you're right. I think it is the Blues.
The Avalanche won the year before that, then I think.
They did
But
against the Bulls.
yeah. Huge for Florida. Huge for the Panthers. Probably going to go to their 3rd straight Stanley Cup. Hopefully win their 2nd in a row. I might go down to a Stanley Cup final game. Hockey is just great. I love the atmosphere in hockey. And
Seems like Florida can only get dynasties in hockey, nothing else.
yeah. We need to light. Yeah, because the Bolts went back to back a couple years ago. Now the Panthers might go back to back.
I
But
remember Tampa was calling
maybe I
themselves
mean
Title Town because they had Tom and they had the Bolts winning championships, and the Rays went and they lost.
we could do
So
like a
yeah,
candlelight. We could do hockey. We could do like a candlelight vigil or something. We got to do something for the Hurricanes. Like I
yeah,
feel
we should.
terrible.
All right, we're
Like
gonna talk a little bit
what
of
is the
football.
comp? Hold up. What is the comp here for the Hurricanes? What other team has gotten swept this many times in a row when they've made it this far into the playoffs? There's no comp.
Probably not.
76ers. Maybe not getting swept, but they suck consistently.
No, the
That's for
Sixers
sure.
can't even make it this far. The Sixers can't even make it this far.
Rob, I'm gonna let you get
Yeah,
going on the
just
Steelers and Aaron Rodgers. I want to hear your. Is Aaron Rodgers good a sign there? Is he just fucking around with Steelers fans and the rest of the NFL? Because this guy's on Joe Rogan talking about everything other than football right now. So let me hear your talk on the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers.
When the whole offseason started, my hopes for the Steelers was to keep Justin Fields, let go of Russ, and just go from there. They let go of both of those guys. And then we had all these Aaron Rodgers talks. I remember when a couple of our friends started hinting that Aaron Rodgers might be going to the Steelers. I'm just like, hell no. Don't give me that 40-year-old wash quarterback. I want Justin Fields. That ship sailed. So at that
Yep.
point, I just went into the most optimistic scenario I could, and that was probably Aaron Rodgers at that point. Everybody else was already gone by then. So I'm thinking, just get Aaron Rodgers. We keep him for a year or two, draft a quarterback, try to develop. But I don't even like what is this guy doing? He's just playing around at this point. Like he's in the media on all these interviews like you're talking about, just
He's
playing. I
clip
don't
farming.
even like I want him at the same time I don't want him. Like if he's gonna sign here, is he even gonna be committed to the team? Because if he wanted to play for the Steelers, he would have signed 2 months ago. I don't even think he wants to play. Like he's just trying to make this the Aaron Rodgers show. The world doesn't revolve around you anymore. You're not with the Packers. You're
Sorry, buddy.
washed. Just sign with a team or retire. That's it. I'm tired of this guy. He's definitely a me first guy. Don't give me Aaron Rodgers. I'm ready to go for our backup options. Hint, hint, maybe Kirk Cousins. I've always liked Kirk Cousins. I think he receives a lot of undeserved flack. He's
It'd
been
be
a
a good
really good
move.
quarterback. Like I hate to say that a player has just been unlucky, but I feel like Kirk Cousins has been one of the unluckiest quarterbacks because he's been a really good player.
some people just have unlucky careers. I think that
Yeah.
can check out.
And he's younger than A-Rod. He's younger than A-Rod, and he's probably better at this current stage. And I think he would actually be committed to the team.
Josh, do you have any 2 cents?
I disagree on the Kirk Cousins thing. He's a good culture guy. I don't have much commentary on A-Rod. He's just looking for attention at this point. I mean, I would rather see him do things on a football field than do whatever he's doing in the media. So I don't give
Right.
him much attention. He kind of just regurgitates the same stuff over and over anyway. I agree with our producer here. I honestly and Rob, dude. I think Kirk Cousins is a better move. I think A-Rod would probably be a better lateral move from Russ. And A-Rod was hardly getting it done at the end of his tenure in Green Bay anyway. So I don't know, man. You guys need to draft a quarterback. Just didn't happen.
Like
Hopefully
if
next year.
If A-Rod would have signed 2 months ago and like been locked in with the team, like always with the guys and everything, like I would be for it. But he's just like this is a clown show at this point. Like what are you doing? This isn't a circus, bro. Just sign with the team or retire. We don't have time for this.
He's being a diva for sure.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to get to our rookie segment of the week. It's kind of an exciting one. Memorial Day. We're going to be on the kind of American flag bandwagon here. We had a American MVP in 7 years, but we have the next up and coming American star coming to the NBA. Gonna be he's locked in as the first overall pick. So Cooper Flagg, we're gonna talk a little bit of would you rather. Just think if you would just swap these two players just one for one, contract and fit on this team, would you rather addition Cooper Flagg? All right, we're going to start off with one name. We're going to start off with two Mount Verde guys. One, Scotty Barnes. Would you rather have Cooper Flagg or Scotty Barnes? Rob, let me hear it.
Like, easy question. I mean, I haven't really been that big of a believer I mean, Scotty Barnes is a really good player, don't get me wrong. I'm just not a fan. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit of a hater. I think Cooper Flagg has really high upside coming. Obviously, you don't know before he gets to the league, but I mean, his game is just so complete. He can do everything on the court. He's a big physical guy too. Great defender. He can run an offense. He can score at all three levels. He can rebound. He can facilitate the offense. We're just gonna have to see if it translates. I really think it will. That one's easy though. Easy Cooper Flag.
Joshua?
I'm a Scott Barn kind of guy myself. Not too happy that Scotty's in Toronto, but you know what? I'll be curious to see what they got cooked up this year. They added BI to the mix. I think Scotty will be on his I mean, he kind of had Pascal that first year. So I think this is first real competitive team though that he'll have. And I think he'll be able to show his growth. I think he'll be the number one beside Brandon Ingram. And I think we're going to see a little bit more of a burst from Sir Scott, this man, but I think he is ridiculously good and has the intangibles. He's built to play great defense and offense. So I think Scotty is still the way I'm going to lean until I see a little bit more Cooper Flagg. I just think, actually, Scotty, pretty sure he shot pretty decently from three last year. Otherwise, his shooting could use some work for sure.
Right.
I was kind of just being a Scotty hater. I'm not gonna lie. Like he's a really good player. I believe in Cooper Flagg's upside.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
all.
The ceiling, I think, is higher with Cooper Flagg, too. All right. We were just talking about him earlier, Cade Cunningham. If you were to swap the ceilings, basically, you put Cade for Cooper Flagg. What are you doing? Rob, start us off.
I gotta go, Cade. He's shown too much after the emergence that he had this year, and really he showed it before too. Obviously, we know he had that injury earlier in his career where he kind of lost almost the whole season there. But now that he's back healthy, he's really putting it all together. Like this guy, he looks like a future MVP caliber floor general for the Pistons. He's a really good scorer. He's already one of the best playmakers in the league. He's a really big physical guard. Again, he scores at all three levels. He has the tools to be a really good defender. I don't think he's been a really good defender yet. He hasn't been a bad defender either, but I think he has more upside, more untapped potential on that end of the court. But I mean, Cade Cunningham's ceiling to me is like top three player in the NBA, best point guard.
For sure. Josh?
I agree. I'm the same way. I mean, if I think Scotty Barnes has higher potential, I just think. Well, I won't even get into that again. But if I think Scotty Barnes is a higher ceiling, I think Cade Cunningham has a higher ceiling. Like Rob said, I think Scotty can find himself like top 10, 15 player in the NBA, but you're going to see Cade top 5, top 3, I think, in years to come here. He's kind of that floor general archetype that I was talking about with Tyrese and Shea and Luka. Does that uber efficiently and does it with, I'm sorry, not very good basketball players. So I can only imagine how he's going to do it with pretty good basketball players. So I think Cade is stellar and is only going to get better. Like Rob said, defensively, just kind of meh. He's solid, but I think he has the tools to be a better defender. I think all three of those guys have the ability to be top 3 defenders at their position.
Yeah. And I think Cade kind of just has that motor. Like he wants to be great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
drive.
and he's going to be great by any means.
All right, we're going to talk about a guy that Rob has seen a lot this year in person down here in Orlando. Franz Wagner, however you say his freaking name. Would you rather have him or Cooper Flagg? If you would you trade Franz right now for the number one pick to take Cooper Flagg? Tell me, Rob. Give me your take.
I think Coop has higher upside than Franz, but I would not trade Franz Wagner to get the number one pick.
You'd rather
I
take
think
Franz.
yeah, I think Franz he's just so underrated, man. Especially by even some of the guys we know, Gene and Skyler, other guys, they all shit on him. They just you got to really watch him play to know the type of impact he's having on the game. And then obviously we saw earlier this year when Paulo went down, Franz really took over that team. And
Yeah.
honestly, when Paulo went out, the Magic won like 12 out of 13 games, and Franz was the one leading the charge, averaging like 27, 7, and 7. And he's an elite defender. I mean, he's a 6'10 forward that can do everything. He
Mm-hmm.
doesn't really have that many flaws in his game. I mean, pause. He can shoot the ball, but that 3-point shooting has been a flaw. Um, I think that's really the big thing with Franz. Like he gets to the rim at will. He has a lot of moves in his bag. He's a good playmaker. He's an elite defender. It's just that three ball. Is that three ball ever going to come back? Because his first couple years in the league, he was like a 36% 3-point shooter. And ever since then, like I don't know what happened with his jump shot, but it's been really bad. And even in this playoffs against the Celtics, his shooting really wasn't there. And it was like that all year and last season too. But if he gets that three ball back, this is like all NBA first or second team kind of guy in his prime, I think.
He has that upside for sure. Franz or Cooper?
For all the reasons Rob said, I am picking Franz. Franz just needs to get that 3-point shooting back together, and then he's literally the perfect NBA wing. And then just with all these guys, if I just think we happen to pick some of the best players in the NBA, understandably so, but there's just so much Cooper Flagg has to prove, I think, in order to get to even where these guys are. Where they came in, they had some hype. Franz probably had the least hype out of them. And they have all delivered. They've created new standards for themselves, I think. So I think once Cooper Flagg creates a new standard for himself, that's when I'll be like, all right, Cooper Flagg has achieved something. He's done something here, or is like head and shoulders above the other rookies, I guess. Would be what it takes, like a Poppy type
Franz,
year.
if Franz Wagner was like in LA or New York or one of these big markets, you would hear his
He'd be
name
huge,
like 10 times
constantly.
more than you are.
Mm-hmm.
Because
So
nobody
true.
talks about Orlando basketball. And it's the same thing with Paulo Banchero. How many times have you seen a number one pick come in and dominate the league right away and nobody talks about him? It's insane to me. He gets no
You'll
credit.
have to here soon. We're going to talk about another Duke guy. Would you hop off the Zion Williamson train and hop on the Cooper Flagg train? What's your take on that, Rob?
In a perfect world, I would go Zion, but we live in reality, so I'm going to go Cooper Flagg. Zion is never on the court. And I mean, that's pretty much where it lies. Like, that's all you can really say about his career so far. When he's on the court, he's been one of the most dominant players. Like, he scores at a really high level. Like, when he's on, there's almost nobody that can stop him. He's scoring like 27 points a game on over 60%. He's not a good 3-point shooter. He's not like a reliable shooter, but he can even step outside and shoot that three ball. He needs to work on his free throws, I think, and just the defensive effort because we know Zion can be a really good defender. I mean, this guy jumps out the gym. I mean, basically, just think of the type of defender he was at Duke. Like, I feel like he hasn't given anywhere near that type of effort. And then I don't know, man. He's too busy eating food in freaking New Orleans. He's at a burger spot every other night, trying to find that soul food. Obviously, a burger's not soul food, but you know what I mean.
Thinking
He's
about
too
Dallas all the
loose.
time.
Huh?
His favorite. He's thinking about Dallas, his favorite city.
All he thinks about is food, bro. This guy
Josh
needs
over here.
and credit to Zion though. He did get back in shape last season and he played really well. But that's the thing, like you're not expecting this guy to play more than half the games in any season. And until that
True.
changes, I'm not picking him over any.
Yeah. Rob was obviously just spitting and pretty much made my entire last point is that I think he, like he said, he just finally started to drop some weight, like a significant amount of weight. So like this season might be the time we get to actually see if Zion could be like sustainable on the court or if we're not going to see much of him for his career. Unfortunately, like you said, just living in reality. We haven't seen much of Zion. I mean, you can't get better if you're always hurt. You can't flush out these games, these parts of your game that Rob was talking about. And obviously, you're not going to have an impact on your team except negatively when they're missing your reliable 26, 27 a game on 60% shooting. So it's been a little bit rough. I mean, we wanted to see a lot more out of Zion. I want to see a lot more out of Zion. It's going to be largely relying on his health. My God, I think we got to get that boy out of New Orleans. He needs somewhere else
For
other
sure.
than fried food. But
I won't give up on him. Give
I
up on
can't.
everybody
I
else.
can't. He's too good. He's too good to give up on. So, I mean, we've seen it before. I've only very barely seen it. Anthony Bennett, Greg Oden, it's like the only guys that are like, I'm like, these guys can't fail. And then these guys just didn't play up to par. So we'll see, I suppose. I want to see more out of Zion. And I feel like that's
Zion's just so frustrating.
Maybe he's just a highlight mixtape
This guy's
merchant.
oozing with talent. He has all the talent. You can't look past the injuries, man. You got to be on the court.
and most of involved his weight. That's the sad thing.
Yeah. All right, Josh, we're going to go to a player on your team. We talked about him earlier, Jalen Williams. Would you trade J-Dub for Cooper Flagg?
Not a shot. No, like that's not. I don't have any more to say. There's not a chance. He was runner up to only Paulo in his rookie year. I mean, obviously, Paulo was by far the rookie of the year that year, but I thought from the start, Jalen Williams looked terrific. Last year showed that he could be clutch. We started going to him in early fourth quarters to close out games when we used to have close games, and he thrived in that role. He I'm statistically the best defender in the NBA. Like not that doesn't even occur to me. Like I'd maybe trade some of the picks we got, like 6 picks for Cooper Flagg, absolutely. 7 picks, send it. But not Jalen Williams, not Chet, not one of the guys that have been integral to our run so far. But
last piece, and then we'll wrap up. Rob.
I'll just go quick. Jalen Williams, it's kind of really tough to gauge with him because like he has all the tools. He's another guy that really has like no weaknesses in his game. He's a really good player. I think Jalen Williams is gonna end up kind of like Jalen Brown. Like he's a really good player, but you're never gonna know how good he can be because he's never gonna be a number one option. At least not on that team. And that's kind of like what we saw with JB in the Celtics. That's probably gonna happen with Franz on the Magic. So I mean, like I would say no. Because I think Jalen Williams is a really good player, but I don't think we'll ever actually see number one option J Dub. So it's tough.
Yeah, well, that'll be the show for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Episode 4. Sorry it was one of our longer shows, but we had a lot to touch on there. But you guys enjoy your Memorial Day. You guys eat your hot dogs and glizzies. We'll see you guys later. Peace.
you say
Have a good one.
Turn this shit off.
Oh my God.